Aren't you cynically using women to deflect from your own record and reputation on women's issues? You used predominantly female candidates at your launch. Only 2 weeks after the launch, you held a women's conference. You've used the trans rights issue to promote women-only safe spaces, which I think a lot of people would say is deeply ironic, coming from somebody who some women don't feel safe around and who's admitted to behaving inappropriately.
Yeah, but unfortunately for you, a jury found not guilty and innocent of all charges.
You have admitted yourself you've behaved inappropriately.
Our defence was that allegations against me were part fabrication and part exaggeration, and I'm not going to rerun the trial with you.
No, I'm not asking.
Nor should you do so.
I'm not asking you to. But when you have one of your candidates accusing Scottish LGBT organisations of wanting to lower the age of consent,
but that's not true. You see.
Well, it is true because I've read the comments.
No, you can't possibly have read.
I have.
No, well, I'm sorry, Iain, you cannot. It was a closed space conference. Nobody has read these comments. What they read was a tweet from someone else who said they'd read the comments. That tweet has been deleted. That's just a fact, Iain. Margaret Lynch, let me tell you something about Margaret Lynch. I've known her for 40 years. Through the Scottish Labour Party, the Labour Party, through a range of charities in Scotland. She'd been one of the strongest feminist voices in Scottish politics for that length of time. The idea that Margaret Lynch has a semblance of being anti-gay in any bone in her body is totally ridiculous. And you who don't know her shouldn't make that suggestion on this or any other programme. She's a fine candidate for the
different
Alba Party.
LGBT organisations have reacted very angrily to this suggestion.
And they didn't see her comments either, I'm afraid.
Well, they've been widely reported, not just by one person.
No, I beg your pardon. Her comments have been reported by no journalist, because no journalist in Scotland has seen these comments, because it was a closed, safe space conference. What journalism in Scotland has done is taken a tweet from someone else ascribing comments to Margaret Lynch, which were not the comments. Okay. And despite the fact that's been said...
Do you take the wider point, though, that you do have a problem with women voters?
Well, the trouble, your wider point, is it just collapsed on an examination of the evidence. I take the point that there are 18 women, some of the strongest feminist voices in Scotland, in the Alba Party, and I'm proud to have them in our range of candidates. I also happen to believe that the Women and Equalities paper that was passed by that conference, which is one of the first policies of the Alba Party, is a valuable addition to the Scottish political debate. I think that many people in Scotland have a great difficulty with the proposals for self-identification, and I think the voices of women deserve and merit being heard, and I think the proposal to take it to what's called a citizens' assembly, where these things can be discussed in a sensible, progressive manner, as opposed to banter on the internet, which you and I both know is the most destructive way for political discourse, is an excellent proposal that deserves serious consideration by somebody like yourself. Now, I'll just show you how bad this is. There is a Scottish journalist called Jerry Hassan, right? His name's not important for any reason. Today he accused the Alba Party of homophobia, looking at a picture of 4 Alba Party candidates. 2 out of these 4 are openly gay. Either an MP and an MSP, has been an MSP and trying to be it. Now, if somebody has got the temerity to accuse people who are openly gay, have campaigned on that basis for election, some journalist, presumably because he didn't know, so that is how bad we have come to in terms of contemporary reporting in Scottish politics.
I can take that. And you are quite right to say you were cleared of the charges that were laid against you.
That's kind of important.
It is, of course. I understand that's important.
It's called a jury.
I understand that's important. But when you yourself have admitted inappropriate behaviour in the past, your own barrister in an overheard conversation on a train made some fairly sort of ripe comments about you, that you can understand why some people are a little bit dubious about your record with women.
Right. Well, clearly some of the strongest feminist voices in Scottish politics are not, otherwise they wouldn't be Alba Party candidates. And I think that's an indication of how seriously Alba takes the issue. The fact that a jury decided it's not something you can just brush across here, and that's something that is decided. And the BBC's been trying to retry me for the last year. It's not going to work for them. It won't work for anybody else.
We've gone way over the time.
Last time I'm going to make the point. The people will judge these matters. Otherwise, I wouldn't be putting myself forward for election.
And I understand that, but could you bring yourself to say, right here, right now, I recognise that I have behaved inappropriately in the past, and I would like to apologise to anyone that has happened to?
Well, Iain, if you understand the case,
I do. I followed it closely because I've known you for a number of years.
And you're kind enough to send me a very kind message when the jury acquitted me of all charges. I should recognise that. But then you would know that an apology was made, not for what I was accused of, because the jury disposed of that, but an apology was made in 2013. The difficulty is...
Would you like to repeat that now? Because I think a lot of people have forgotten that.
No, because, well, they may have forgotten it, but I've just told them again, and I repeated that apology last year. See, the trouble is with the culture we're in now, Iain, that if you apologise, then that's regarded as an admission of guilt. And you and I are both aware that's two different things entirely. So what you get is a pile-on. He has apologised, he is this, he is that. Instead of saying, well, look, this went to trial in the highest civil court in Scotland and the highest criminal court in Scotland. A predominantly female jury decided the issue in front of a lady judge. That should be that, and now it's time to move on.